We've all been there before. We've got this great idea in our head. We can see it so clearly. But once we sit down and try to draw it, we freeze. Only the blank page is staring back at us. How do we get past this? Well, welcome to Panels in Progress, and in today's episode, we're going to discuss the ability to just start by sketching. I know it sounds simple, but hear me out. If you have your sketchbook or your iPad, whatever you work on, go ahead and pull it out, and while we have this conversation, try to make some progress. So let's start at the beginning. That idea that you see so clearly in your head. I'm pretty visual when I daydream about the comic ideas. I can see exactly how I want things to look. I can see exactly how the panels should flow and how the story I want to tell comes to be. It's kind of like a movie playing in my head. And the problem is, when you're visually in your head, that vision is too perfect. Like, the artwork looks even better than you're probably able to draw it. And that might be just the problem of why, when it's time to actually get it from your head to the paper, that it's hard to bring it to life. It's something about that perfectionist in all of us where it's like we want to translate what we see in our head exactly onto paper, but that's not possible. At least not on the first pass. I mean, unless you're Kim Jong-il, rest in peace, I don't think any of us are going to translate exactly what we see in our head in the perfect perspective from the start. So for the rest of us mere mortals, we're going to have to sketch and try to figure out how we want things to look. And to be honest, I think that's the best part about making comics, is that there's multiple passes. Now, if you're working on a team or if you're working on this by yourself, there's different parts that you can do. And I love that you can start with a simple sketch, a simple drawing, thumbnails, layouts, and each time you revisit those same drawings, you add a little bit more, you take a little bit away, you manipulate things, and it allows you to revise and revise and revise until eventually you have a finished project. It's like a ladder of sorts. Each rung of the ladder is taking you closer to that ultimate vision that you see in your head. But you have to start with those messy drawings. Let's get into those messy drawings. Sometimes I think as indie creators, as independent creators, we think that everything we do has to be on par with the level of a professional working at Marvel, working at DC Image, insert big comic company here or big manga company here. But the truth is, we've got some liberty to kind of explore things and make things less refined. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't refine it later. It just means that you don't have to start at such a high level. So for instance, if you're making a short story, a comic, however, manga, whatever, you don't have to have a 5-point turnaround character sheet. You don't have to create 10 or 20 facial expressions in all different angles for your characters. Each character. You don't have to do 15, 20 full body expressions of that character in different angles. You don't have to do all that. Back when I was in art school, for animation actually, that was one thing that we had to do every single project. We had to take our story and our characters and we had to do these 5-point turnarounds. We had to express emote and express the facial features in multiple ways, in multiple different angles, and also do full body expressions as well. And the thing about that is that for animation, that does kind of make sense. You are going to be moving this character in multiple directions. And yes, in comics, you're going to be doing the same thing, but you're showing the perfect shot, or you're showing the best framing each time. So as long as you hit a few angles from different perspectives, I think you're going to be good. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to make this wholly big plan of how everything needs to look exactly every single direction from every angle. What I did for my most recent comic was I just started sketching. I wanted to do a front view of the character, what their clothes were going to look like, and then I started moving the character around, having fun with the character, playing with the character. And yes, did that lead to some expressions that I knew I was going to need to understand how this character was going to look? Yeah. Did it lead to some full body expressions, character running, character movement? Yeah, it did. But it wasn't forced. It was me enjoying the process of making the character and then exploring how that character was going to move within the comic, within the scene. And I think maybe that's the key, is that you really only need to know certain things about your character for that particular comic. So for instance, this horror comic that I'm making, the character is running, the character is sitting on the floor, the character is looking at his foot, the character is afraid, scared, frightened. So obviously the things that I need to understand with how to draw this character is, how does he run? What does his face look like when he's afraid? What does his face look like when he's shocked? How does the character sit on the ground? How the character holds his foot? Like, those things will come about naturally. I'm only drawing what I need to know. And if I need to know something else later, I'll problem solve that later. But for now, just to get started, it's just what I need to know. So keep your ideas loose, keep your ideas fluid, have fun, explore. Doesn't have to be perfect, just explore. Just sketch, draw, explore. I kind of want to touch on the reference trap. I'm pretty sure we've all fallen into the reference trap. The reference trap is when you need reference for a particular look, a particular angle, a particular pose, maybe some colors, maybe a hairstyle. It could be anything. Anything that you are going to actively go to the internet for and Google whatever you're looking for. And the thing about this is, it's great that we live in a time where reference and ideas and visual images are in abundance. Like, literally, you can be inspired and shown anything you want to see. Like, literally, you could be shown anything you want to see. But the problem with that is that sometimes we take reference research or reference hunting into the depths of, now we're just scrolling endlessly, mindlessly, over and over, looking for the same things. Like, yeah, we've already found the images that sparked our curiosity, but now, because the algorithms work the way that they work, we've lost 2 hours looking for reference and haven't drawn a thing. So I would say, give yourself a little bit of a time limit on how much reference, or separate your reference searching away from your actual drawing time. Let's say if you know that you're going to start drawing your comic on Monday or Tuesday, then on Sunday, take 20 minutes, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, and find exactly what you need. Maybe make a list of what you need. Like, for instance, I needed reference for what does ripped clothing look like? I needed reference for bruises, cuts, and scratches. And I needed reference for trees with big roots. These were very specific things that I needed to find on the internet. And what I did was, once I found those things, I saved the pictures and then I got off the internet. Because what you don't want is that you keep finding images after images, scrolling more and more, and the next thing you know, you've lost days on research hunting, but yet haven't made any progress to the actual goal. So make sure that when you're doing your reference search, you actually limit yourself to just what you need, get in and get out. Like, it's a quick run to the store. You need that one thing, get in, get out, because you can get stuck in infinite scroll of research. All right, so you've got your research, you've got your reference, you are about to start thumbnailing / laying out. Like, there's multiple camps on this argument, what it's called, what they should be, what they should do. None of that matters. What matters is that you just start drawing. Now, normally, back in the days when I first started making comics, I tried to do all of it at once. I tried to figure out the position of the panels on the page while also figuring out what was going to happen inside the panels and also figuring out the layouts. This could easily be multiple phases, but a lot of us try to cram all of this heavy lifting and thinking into one pass, and it can be tiring and exhausting. I recently took John's thumbnail course. I will link his video or try to link the course in the description. Check it out, it's really helpful. But his course actually gave me a new way of thinking about how to do thumbnails and how to think about the backgrounds as well, which I really needed. Basically, the new approach that I'm doing now is I am drawing all the things. I'm doing the basics. So whatever my script says, if a man is running in the woods, I draw a picture of a man running in the woods. I don't put any thought into it further than that. I'm just literally transcribing from the script to my sketchbook or to my iPad exactly what's happening. And sometimes in my head, I have an exact angle or an exact camera shot that I want, and I'll put that in there. But if I don't have any unique way of putting what is on the script onto the paper, then I just do the basics. And then I go back and I take these little panels, these little ideas, and I fit them into a page. And I'm making a video about how I thumbnail specifically, so stay on the lookout for that. It's like a puzzle. Now I know exactly how many panels need to be on a page, and I'm taking those puzzle pieces and I'm putting them in there. Sometimes the panels get bigger, sometimes they get smaller. Maybe I discover that I need another panel, which actually happened. I thought in my script that I only needed 4 panels, but it turned out that I actually needed 5. And scripting and drawing is like that. I kind of think of it like ping pong. Sometimes your script informs your drawing, but sometimes your drawing is going to inform your script, because once you are actually drawing and penciling, you'll realize, oh wait, this action isn't clear, it's not flowing, or we need a breakdown of this action to make it understood what's happening. And you can go back and forth. And just like I said in my video about story scripting, whatever you write, the script can change. And just like with thumbnailing, whatever you thumbnail, the thumbnails, the layouts, it can change at any time. So don't be afraid to be messy. Don't be afraid to try things. Just get the ideas down on paper. That's what's the most important thing. I'm not really sure who said the quote, but the quote is, make it exist first and then make it better later, or something like that. I'll put the real quote on the screen. So after you do your first pass of thumbnails, Yes, you can either go ahead and do another pass into the thumbnails, but some advice that I took from John Brinkley's thumbnail course was to wait a day. Wait a day, wait 2 days, and then come back to it and look at it through fresh eyes, because you might have a better idea now, and that's where that revision is going to come in, and you can make that story even better. You know, maybe you realize, oh, the camera angle could be better if I did this, because now that you've got the basic idea out, you can now improve upon that idea. Now is also a good time to get some feedback. If you're a part of an art community, a comic creators community, a manga creating community, webtoon creating community, whatever, get some feedback. If your thumbnails are clear enough. Now, my thumbnails sometimes look like straight chicken scratch, so my first thumbnails, I really don't show those, but the second and third pass, sometimes I clear up the thumbnails for clarity, and usually I feel like those are able to be read as long as I have cleaned them up a bit. So share them in the groups, ask for feedback, and be specific about what you want to know in your feedback. For instance, when I shared my comic roughs amongst other comic creators and in the groups, I asked clearly, like, hey, are these panels flowing? Is the story that I want to tell coming across? And now, don't try to drop 30 pages of thumbnails on them. If it's a short comic, I'm pretty sure people can take the time to look over it, but if it's a really dense page count, don't expect someone to read your 100 page count comic. They might get fatigued, so keep it short, keep it sweet. On the things that you're really struggling with, ask help or sign up for a mentorship. There's plenty of artists that have paid tiers on their Patreon where you can get the help you need for some direct eyes on your comic. And one day, I hope to help you guys with that. But for now, I'm gonna have to say I'm not the one. Yet. Sometimes a untapped resource could be your friends and family that are not artists. Now, I know that some people don't want to show their families their comics, so maybe you just keep it to your friends that are non-artists. For this, I definitely recommend cleaning up the thumbnails a little bit more, maybe closer to the penciling stage, because a non-artist isn't going to understand your chicken scratch, unfortunately. I was explaining this to my wife, what a rough thumbnail is kind of like, and I was like, have you ever seen a house being built, the framework, the construction, where they've got some insulation over here but a lot of wood over there, and it's just, you know that a house is being built but you aren't quite sure what is going to go where? That's kind of what the roughs are for a non-artist. Is they can see things are happening, but they might not be sure what. So you might have to help them along or explain just a little bit more than you normally would. But for the penciling phase, when things are very clear or should be very clear, family and friends that are non-artists, definitely perfect for that point. So a few more traps that I want to remind you guys to avoid. One, don't wait for the perfect idea. Don't wait for the perfect reference. Your idea might not be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just revise the idea, talk about it out loud with people. Basically, don't waste your time waiting for the perfect idea. Just get the idea down on paper and you can revise it and make it better once it's out of your head. Over planning instead of sketching. Remember, yeah, you can have a plan of how you want to get this comic idea off the ground, but ultimately you do have to start sketching. You do have to let your script inform your drawing and let your drawing inform your script. Some things you won't know are not possible until you start drawing, and there's some things you wouldn't think to even draw without having written versions. So make sure you're balancing both. And the last one, do not treat your art, your messy thumbnails, your messy script, your messy character designs, don't treat those like final art. They're just ideas. They're just concepts. You're bringing it to life. Think of it as creating a sculpture. You're just slapping clay on the armature wire, and you're going to eventually mold it and create something. And the final takeaway is small steps. Whatever comic you're making, however big it is, those small steps that you make in the beginning are going to give you the momentum you need to push to the end. Everything doesn't have to be done in a particular way, but you have to figure out a way that works for you in order to push to the end. So take that first step, make a messy script, make some messy thumbnails, and put it all together. And then go back, revise, and see what you can improve upon. If this helped, I'd love to hear about your ideas on thumbnailing. How messy are your thumbnails, or are you still trying to break out of the perfection mode? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're interested in my comics that I make, those links will also be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, let's make some progress.